Now, the first thing I want to share is kind of like a bunch of different facts into one, starting at number 10. Algeria is officially known as the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, and it's a country in the Maghreb region of northern Africa. Now, Algiers is a capital as well as its largest city. Now, Arabic and Berber are its official languages, and its official currency is the dinar with the currency code DZD. Algeria is bordered by the countries of Morocco, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Libya, Tunisia, as well as Western Sahara. Now, Algeria is the largest country in Africa. That's something I just found out. I actually thought it was like Egypt or South Africa or something, but no, Algeria is the largest country in Africa, and it has a total area of 2,381,741 square kilometers. It's also the 10th largest country in the entire world. Algeria exports a large amount of natural gas to Europe due to its massive reserves of gas and oil. Now, the export of energy is the country of Algeria's backbone. Algeria is also a member of the African Union as well as the United Nations and also the Arab League. So they got their hands into everything here. Now, we talked about languages in Algeria, but the official language is Arabic. The people speak Arabic, Berber, and you also find them speaking French as well because it was a French colony. Now, Algerian Arabic, called Darja, is spoken by well over half of the population. And although English is not commonly spoken in Algeria, you can find it taught in Algerian schools though. Next up, at fact number 7, let's talk about the religion in Algeria. So Islam is the official religion in the country, and it's actually illegal to advocate or promote to the people of Algeria about any other religion other than Islam. So it's no surprise that the legal system is not just based on the French court system, but it's also based on Sharia law. Another interesting fact about Algeria is this animal here. It has slanted eyes, pointed nose, and it's kind of cute. It's called the fennec fox or the Vulpes zirda, and it's the national animal of Algeria. And it's also in the nickname of the country's national football team, the Les Fennecs. This is also referred to as a desert fox, and the fennec is likely spotted in arid regions of Algeria as well as in other North African countries. Now, the fennec fox is the world's smallest canid species, and it's well adapted to thrive in the often very harsh environment that it makes its home in. Fact number 5, the capital city Algiers has this amazing Roman Catholic basilica. It's called the Notre Dame d'Afrique, meaning Our Lady of Africa. And not only is it a fantastic building, but it's also on top of a cliff that overlooks the sea, so the view from it is pretty breathtaking. Now, the basilica contains 46 stained glass windows, and it contains an inscription on the apse in the church that says, "Our Lady of Africa, pray for us and for the Muslims." Now, the basilica is seen as a symbol of religious tolerance. Although it is a Muslim country, there still is a level of religious tolerance that you'll find in Algeria because clearly basilicas are not Muslim. It's a Catholic structure. Now, did you know that some of the highest temperatures in the world were actually recorded in Algeria? The highest to date was 124 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 51 degrees Celsius. I don't think I've ever experienced that kind of heat before. Maybe if I open up my oven, probably. I think I've acclimatized to Canada, you know, with the cold, and our summer times, they're hot, but like not that hot. 51 degrees Celsius. But you know what? Can't complain. I'll rather hot weather than the cold. I'm telling you. Moving on to fact number 3, Algeria's modern flag, you can see here, it's designed to symbolize very specific points. So the colors of the flag are green, red, and white. And what the color symbolizes this. So green is to represent Islam as well as paradise and nature. And red symbolizes the deaths and the sacrifices of all the people who fought for Algeria's independence, as well as it stands for liberty. And now the white symbolizes purity and peace. And one thing that I found really interesting about the flag is that in order for a flag to be approved and acceptable, the exact wavelength that each color must absorb is very specific. Like it's specified like officially, it's an official thing. And that's pretty unusual to find for a country in Africa to do. Okay, only 2 facts left. Moving on to number 2, the Sahara Desert. Now, of course, we all know it's a massive desert, but you know that it covers 80 to 90% of all of Algeria? Now, most people living within the confines confines of the desert are clustered around oases, as well as you'll find them gathered in a few large towns. And this makes life very different than in the north as well as along the coasts. But although it's a pretty difficult area to live in, the Sahara Desert has some amazing scenery. Algeria's territory can be described as being arid as well as semi-arid, just depending on the part of the country that you're in. Now, we can't talk about Algeria without mentioning the music, Rai music. This originated back in the 1930s, and Rai music combines traditional Bedouin desert music with European as well as African influences. And the music uses traditional instruments along with modern synths and drum machines, and it's very popular all around Algeria. And the first thing I want to share with you guys at fact number 10 is Kasaman, meaning we pledge, is actually the name of the Algerian national anthem. And the crazy thing about this was that it was actually composed in jail, and it was first written in blood on the prison wall by an Algerian revolutionary, and at the time he was imprisoned by the French colonial regime. Now, the song was adopted as a national anthem back in the year 1962 when the country gained independence from France. What an origin story for a national anthem, honestly. Also, Algeria is commonly called the country of cherries and dates, and this actually refers to the types of weather that you can experience in Algeria, like the mild climate in the north and a dry, hot climate in the south. Algerian dates are also known to be some of the best on earth. Like, I love dates, I love eating dates, I love going on dates. And visitors are also commonly greeted by being offered dates as well as milk. Located in the central Sahara are the Ahagar Mountains, and these are also known as the Hogar Mountains. Now, this mountain range is predominantly made up of extinct volcanoes. The mountains generally have a height of over 900 meters, which is 2,953 feet, and the highest peak, Mount Tahat, rises to a height of 3,003 meters. And that, by the way, works out to be 9,852 feet. But not only is Mount Tahat the highest in the Hagar Mountains, but it's also the highest mountain in the entire country of Algeria. Another pretty interesting fact about the country is that there's free national healthcare, and that was actually implemented by the government in the year 1975, and this really helps out people who are sick or suffer some kind of injury. Now, this came as part of the reconstruction of the country after the massive, deadly, destructive Algerian war. Nearly all of the people living in urban areas and about 80% of the population in rural areas have access to pretty good sanitation. Next fact is about Algeria's literacy rate. It's at 80%. Now, more men actually can read than women, but women have traditionally been discouraged from going to school so that they can stay home and help out their mothers or help around with the house, things like that. And in schools, French is the instructional language. English is also taught in schools as well. And by the way, speaking of languages, I talk a lot more about the languages of Algeria as well as some other interesting facts in part 1. So if you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend it. Definitely check it out after you finish watching this one. At fact number 5, let's talk more about the women in Algeria. Women in Algeria actually make up 60% of the student population. Also, females are pretty prominent in society. 70% of all lawyers in Algeria, as well as 60% of Algeria's judges, are female. Algerian women also make a huge contribution to household income. Gotta love Algerian women. Not only are they absolutely gorgeous, but I mean, they're trendsetters too, they're go-getters, just amazing women. From there though, let's move on into some facts about the food in Algeria. Often considered to be the national dish of Algeria, we have couscous. And couscous is made up of small pellets of steamed semolina topped with various meats or vegetables, and you can mix in different spices with it. Personally, I love couscous. It's just so light and you can do so much with it. And when it comes to Algerian cuisine, the most popular types of meats and vegetables that they use with couscous is chicken, carrots, as well as chickpeas. Personally, for me, I love sprinkling some Parmesan cheese on top of the couscous. Oh, so good. We talked about food, let's talk real quick about drinks. Algeria produces a little beer as well as wine, but they import a lot more than they actually produce. The thing is though that in the country, alcohol is not widely consumed and it's often frowned upon by society. There are bars in most of the cities in Algeria, and even if alcohol is served at local food establishments, they're often not even listed on the menu. However, international chain hotels often have more inviting bars, as well as they're a little bit more free when it comes to alcohol use because they cater a lot more to tourists. Now, exploring a little bit more of the country, there's actually 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Algeria, and because of the country's rich history, there are many sites built by its former rulers and many by its indigenous people. These sites, they're really marked as World Heritage Sites because of the massive amount of information that they have about people, as well as very important times in history. And we've made it to the end of this episode. We got one more fact left. Now, this structure right here was opened in 1982 to honor the 20th anniversary of Algeria's War for Independence. This is a concrete monument located in Al Medina in Algeria, and it's really a testament to the country's long struggle to eliminate the French colonizers. This memorial stands at 302 feet tall, and it's made up of 3 palm leaves. Of course, they're made of concrete, and in the center of the monument sits an eternal flame. This is definitely a symbol of pride for the people of Algeria. Starting at number 10, Algeria is an Arab country. This is a big one because, like, yes and no, right? Like, it depends on what you mean by Arab country. So if you take a look, based on the population, Algerians are a mix of Amazigh, which is Berber, more Arab, African, and French. It's like a melting pot of ethnicities and cultures right there. And then we have Berber and Arab mixed ethnicities making up the majority. So yes, Arabic is the official language in Algeria, and Algerians have adopted many Arab cultural practices. However, indigenously speaking, Berber is the original ethnicity of Algerians, and Berber and Arab, they're completely different ethnicities, not the same at all. So in that sense, it is not an Arab country. Berbers are not Arabs, period. So yeah, this one always sparks a lot of conversation and differences of opinions. So if you're from Algeria, let me know your thoughts about that below in the comment section. Next up, at number 9, we have women are fully oppressed. So women in Algeria, let's just look at the facts, right? They make up 60% of the entire student population. So they're educated, they're well educated. Not like they can't go to school or are restricted from getting an education. They also are very prominent in society. And get this, 70% of Algeria's lawyers as well as 60% of its judges are female. And Algerian women make a decent amount of money. Like, they actually really contribute to their household income every single year. So to say that these women are oppressed because they live in Algeria is a total lie. It's not even close to the truth. Now, speaking of women in Algeria, there's another misconception, lie, and stereotype out there. All of the women are witches. Yeah, believe it or not, that belief actually exists. Algerian women and even other North African women, they suffer from the stigma of witchcraft, right? So yes, you'll find the practice of witchcraft done in the country, but normally when people refer to women calling them witches, it's usually used as a derogatory slur. To be honest, I actually don't know where this one stemmed from, but I guess, you know, witchcraft is frowned upon. So like if you are a witch, it's like, oh my God, you're probably like the worst type of woman. So I don't know, maybe that one stems from cultural practices and just different stereotypes from other nations have come in over time. But just had to go on record to say all Algerian women, they're not witches. Okay, now let's talk about the men in Algeria. Another lie is all men marry women for visas. Based on the website for the US Embassy in Algeria, yes, some Algerians do make friends with American citizens through dating and social media websites, and these relationships sometimes lead to engagement and even marriage. But this stereotype about Algerian men has really, of course, been perpetuated by reality TV shows like 90 Day Fiancé. That show's really popular, but this is not even close to making up the majority of how Algerian men approach a long-term relationship. So, you know, that right there, saying it as a blanket statement about all Algerian men, is just a big, fat lie. Now, the lie at number 6 is all Algerians speak French. Now, this one is due to the popular fact that the French had colonized Algeria at one point in their history. But although the French education system is a very common thing throughout the upper class, they only make up a small percentage of the entire population of Algeria and not the majority at all. Algeria is probably one of the largest francophone countries in the entire world, but the official languages are Arabic and Berber. French doesn't even hold any official status. Yes, a whole lot of Algerians speak French. 100%, but definitely not all of them. The lie at number 5 is Algerians are white people. Alright, so let me break this one down for you. See, Algerians are as diverse of a population as you could even imagine. So of course, white people or people that can pass as white in Algeria do exist, but there are also black Algerians and also Algerians of all shades. Also, the definition of whiteness in America has led to some confusion of who is considered a white person. So check this. Under the US Census definition and the United States Federal Agency, people with ancestries from North Africa are considered white. Also, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission regulations also define white as original peoples of Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East. Now, on top of that, many non-dark-skinned Algerians aren't even viewed as being African by foreigners, since for many people, only black Africans come to mind when the term African is used. But yeah, when it comes to being white, you ask Algerians and the usual response would be that having fairer skin doesn't mean that they would classify themselves as being white people. Moving on to number 4, all Algerians are Muslim. Okay, yeah, so pretty much the entire population of Algeria is Muslim. Specifically, they follow the Sunni Islam school of thought. But you know, the area once had a large Jewish population. Jews actually date back before Islam was introduced. Some Jews descended from immigrants from Palestine at the time of the Romans. Now, Christianity, it came to North Africa in the Roman era, and then it was reintroduced once again after the French conquest of Algeria. So you'll find a very tiny amount of Jews still there in Algeria right now, and also a Christian population in larger numbers than the Jewish population. Still nowhere close to the amount of Muslims in the country right now. But no, not every single person, because they're from Algeria, is a Muslim. There's other minority faiths that exist there that I didn't even mention in this episode. But we got 3 more to go. At line number 3, Algeria is in the Middle East. Oh my lord. Lord. How much more plain does somebody have to make this? So of course there's a distinct difference in sub-Saharan African cultures and North African cultures of the continent of Africa. Now, Algeria, though, in a modern sense, is considered part of the Greater Middle East or the New Middle East. Now, it's tied in with the Arab Middle East through the religion of Islam, sure, and it also has some shared history with other Middle Eastern nations. But despite these ties to the Middle East, like what people know as the Middle East, when you look on the map, Algeria is in the continent of Africa, and not even close to the Middle East like Egypt. It's like way over to the west. Maybe these terms, Greater Middle East or the New Middle East, are gonna become more popular and then the Middle East is gonna shift somehow, but currently, as it stands, Algeria is in Africa. Number 2, it's not safe. Actually, many people have reported traveling to Algeria and feeling very safe in its cities, often feeling even safer than places in Europe and the United States. Algerians are also said to be some of the most friendliest people that you will ever meet. And you know, that point right there actually ties into number 1, the biggest lie. Algerians are terrorists. And you know, this misconception and stereotype and lie really stems from the 90s when Algerians were stereotyped as terrorists. But that's not a common thing that you're gonna find in the cities. Possibly some extremist activity on the outskirts of Algeria bordering other countries, but for the most part, no, they're great people in Algeria. Definitely, Algeria hasn't had the easiest of histories. You know, they really had to fight for their independence. So there's a lot that goes into that. I'm not gonna get into that right now. But I mean, even on a different note, like just reading some of the comments on our videos lately, Algerians, they're very proud of their nation. And honestly, what I'm seeing is a whole lot more love. That's from me and from many other people as well.